My name is James Williams Jr. This is Kung Fu number 2. Now, I'm a few days late with this video. By the time you see this, it's probably going to be the Monday or Tuesday because I'm still recording right now. And I don't know when they're going to get posted because I have school tomorrow. And I have to work, so I need to make this fast. This show, Legion, just ended. The whole show is gone. It's done. I love the way it was done, but I am confused as hell. Alright? I truly love Legion. I've been watching it from the beginning. I was down with it like the 6 months that they were advertising before it came out. And I will say, this may sound insulting, so I'm going to say it anyway though. Legion was a great show, aka watching an awesome ass train wreck where nobody dies, but the metal gets twisted all the hell, and everybody on the twisted metal walk off without a scratch. So as you know, I'm a comic book fan. I really didn't expect them to do Legion the way they did Legion, because Legion has been one of those X-Men characters that he's an Omega level mutant. Him and Franklin Richards are like two of the first of their kind, because I'm not sure who came first between Franklin Richards and Legion chronologically. I know for the most part, David Hayler has been older than Franklin Richards, but that does not mean that he was created first in the Marvel Universe. However, as one of two of the most powerful Omega level mutants in the universe, Franklin Richards, well, I just got this comic called the History of the Marvel Universe. I haven't read it yet, so just so that you guys know I'm not bullshitting you. Franklin Richards is in this comic. He's riding with Galactus through the whole damn thing. This has nothing to do with this video. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that I had it, and that that's Franklin Richards right there. You know, so I'm going to read this comic eventually. I grabbed it when I grabbed the last Walking Dead comics that I got from my sister, because she's a Walking Dead fan, and I like the show more than I like the comic, but I like the comic too. I just don't have any of my own, because I just couldn't get into it until I got into the show, and then I got a cousin who also loves The Walking Dead, which is not here or there. But anyway, so Legion, the way they did it for TV, the only thing that they really didn't emphasize was his exceptionally long Mohawk-style hair. Because Legion in the comic, his hair is like way up here. It's almost like Dragon Ball Z. It defies the laws of natural physics. So let me give you a rundown of Legion. Yes, he's a schizophrenic. Franiac, whatever. He's a schizo. They do follow that from the comic. They changed a lot of stuff in the comic, because I don't really remember him dealing with the Shadow King until certain events where he decides that he's going to go back through time and wipe out Magneto, and actually winds up killing Xavier instead. And then they did something like that again, where he was going to go back in time and wipe himself out of existence by either killing Xavier or his mother. And I can't remember which story came first, but I know that he did it twice before the retconning in 2008 or 2010. Anyway, that's neither here nor there either. When you start watching Legion, it kind of starts off with him, I think it was either he was having sex with his girlfriend, or he just had sex with his girlfriend and an argument ensued, and he used his powers and he accidentally killed her or something. And that's where you see like everything in the kitchen and stuff all mesmerized and all over the place. And the first couple of episodes were just like fucking wild. So that being said, you can't really get the grip on what's going on with the show. And then after you get like 2 or 3 shows in the first season, you kind of start to slow down. And by the time you get to like the middle of the first season, they start putting shit together. And then, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, they bring in the Shadow King. And they also bring in a couple of other people who I still couldn't remember who the hell they were, but they brought them in, and they were all super, like, they were on that thin line between, they were kind of like Deadpool, And then they started droving into him being adopted and all the other stuff. And in the comic book, I kind of really got that because Legion also had a rock band and all kinds of. The Legion I knew was loosely used in the show. That's more or less what I'm saying. Because the Legion I knew, he hung out with Lila Chimney. They traveled places. He was a rock star, and he did not have an extenuating real love for his father. They had like an almost love-hate relationship. But he also was one of Charles Xavier's first children brought into the Marvel Universe. And Marvel has dubbed into more children that Charles has had because Charles got around before he got crippled, and Charles Xavier comes from old money, which the show doesn't really touch on that, you know. And in the comic, Charles Xavier knew about Legion, but it wasn't like it was in the show, you know, unless that shit all got retconned. And you know, retcon is not my favorite word, but if that shit all got retconned, then everything I'm about to tell you is just bullshit because everything got retconned. Well, in the comic, you know, Legion made his presence known because Legion was very jealous of X-Men, especially Scott Summers. Legion was very jealous of the fact that Charles Xavier put more time into someone else's children instead of his own child. Legion had 5 different personalities in the comic. Each personality had a power. And I'm going to go on a limb and say this with being there's a chance that I am completely, ultimately, and totally wrong about this. But each one of his personalities, basically, he changed his shape to fit that personality. Okay? In the comic, before any retconning, he did do that. So he clearly had 6 powers instead of 5. Because he had 5 powers. He was a pyrokinetic, he was a telekinetic, he was a telepath, and he could shoot beams of fire or whatever the hell out of his hands. And every personality that he had, he could change the shape into that person because he was definitely different people all wrapped into one, henceforth the name Legion. Now, the X-Men Evolution cartoon did bring him in. The X-Men that came on Fox didn't bring him in. Wolverine, the X-Men cartoon, didn't bring him in. And the X-Men that came on IGN when it used to be a channel, they didn't mention Legion, but he had a Japanese kid, and they had to go and fight the kid or whatever to calm him down. And they basically did the Proteus story only with Xavier's kid, and that's when the cartoon world got introduced into Armor, who's like a Japanese girl that came to the Xavier suit because her powers form a body of armor around her. Not like Colossus, who's organic steel, but like Proteus, whose body was armor. They just basically recycled his powers and gave it to a chick, which a lot of Marvel comics do recycle. There's like more than one telepath. There's more than one telekinetic. There's more than one strong mutant. So Legion was kind of a combo of all that shit. Each one of his personalities had a power. And so he must have been born with shapeshifting ability also that they tapped into because a couple of times in the comics and also in the X-Men Evolution cartoon, he changed into a little boy. He changed into a grown man. And I want to say in the comic, I'm pretty sure I don't have it, but I'm pretty sure in one of the comics he changed into a woman to get close to somebody to mess them up. And I can't remember who that was, and I'm pretty sure it's been retconned. And if somebody has information on that, let me know. Because, like I said, I read comics into the year 2010. I started to stop reading them in 2008 or 2010 because they retconned everything that I knew. They killed Scarlet Witch's twins that she had with Vision, which she had twins with Vision way back in the 80s, and they clearly threw that in the archives and forgot it. So when they had her get pregnant with twins again, they got rid of them, and then they had her rewrite the entire Marvel Universe, wiping out every mutant except for like maybe a certain amount. And the only person she wasn't powerful enough to fuck with was Franklin Richards. So I don't know if her wiping out everybody in the 616 that was mutants ever reached Legion. I don't know about that because by the time that happened, I pretty much gave my comic book reading days the finger. And I said, I'll wait for the cartoons from now on, which I have. And every now and then I will go pick up a comic. You know, I will go pick up a comic just to see what's going on. And after the X-Men vs. Inhuman debacle, I just like, you know what, I'm only going to pick up certain comics that actually look good or tell a story, like the one I just bought, you know, because I got to read that. But, you know, outside of that, I mean, retconning everything kind of screwed everything up for me. So when Legion came out, I was expecting everything from the comic book to fall into the movie. Few things from the comic did fall into the movie because some of the characters, I have no idea who the hell they were. The Native American man who was white, but Native American. He was literally Native American, but people thought he was white, and the parents thought that the other parent was cheating, but he had a twin sister who was living inside of him who looks Native American. I had to do research on that because I was like, I don't remember them in the comic book, you know. And when you watch TV shows from comic book adaptations, you go back and do your research and you find these things out. So I'm still doing research on all that. But then there was Switch, and her story arc was just in the last season, which I think they probably could have went one more season, but the director has said, or the producer said, we can get it all done in 3 seasons, which is what they did. And I'm grateful that it had a decent ending. It had a decent ending, and it leaves you knowing that David was going to be all right. However, it also leaves you with a cliffhanger ending on Switch, the Native American dude, and what happens with David's father and mother. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this does not take place in the 616. All right, not like Agents of Shield, and not like Avengers and all that shit, because they clearly are in the 616. That has been leaked out that they were in the 616. In the very first episode, Coulson mentions 616, and 616 has been used 3 or 4 times throughout the seasons of Agents of Shield, and mostly used by Coulson. So it's one of those things. And being that Agents of Shield is ending and it's my favorite show, my acting dream of being on that show has just got derailed. But anyway, for Legion, when it ends, it does show his girlfriend and him holding hands and talking over the crib of new David, baby David, and she tells him, "Be a good boy." And it ends with them fading away. I'm sorry, that's a spoiler, but like I said in the beginning of this video, I'm a couple of days late because Legion came on like either Monday or Tuesday, and I was way behind on that thing because I just watched it today. So the long and the short is that they ended Legion on a very positive note, and I am grateful that they ended it on a positive note, which will lead to my next video about cop-out endings. Thank you guys for watching. Share, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Be seeing you.